Okay.
What was that? I heard something too, but I wasn't sure if it was in the apartment or outside. So, also, happy birthday, Toxic
It
Biggie.
was outside, but it sounded. Oh, happy birthday! It was outside, but it sounded like a woman screaming.
Okay, I thought it was our cat
Did it not?
meowing, so that's why I was worried. Now I'm not
No, my
worried.
door's open.
Whatever that lady's dealing with, she can deal with on her own.
Or what if it's a kitty getting attacked? You don't know.
Kitty can deal on its own.
God. This reminds me of that one time back over the summer where there were like two cats like beating the shit out of each other outside the window during the
Hmm.
podcast.
Oh, yeah.
We were both just sitting here like. Anyways, welcome to the Pinfall podcast. I'm your host, Liz. There's some weird shit happening. I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, Marcus.
For those watching, if in case you didn't notice, I added a little championship flair to the podcast. I made Liz, you can't see it, but on the background, I laid out like all of the championships or the champions in a row. So obviously, as champions come and go, they'll be added, subtracted.
What a weird episode we had today.
Mm-hmm.
What a strange fucking episode. As always, a good episode because it's NXT. What do you fucking expect?
Yeah.
But my God, ooh wee brother. Oh, man.
A lot of weird stuff happened actually. Like this was a weird episode.
That's what.
Some weird stuff with Adam Pearce. Weird stuff with who was it? With Imperium. Weird stuff with LA Knight. Dexter
Weird
Loomis.
stuff with Roddy.
Adam Cole's weird.
Well, Cole's always weird. That was different.
No, yeah, that's what I mean. Like he's just always weird.
Oh, fair. It
Yeah.
genuinely took me like a solid 10 minutes to understand why Adam Pearce was there in the first place.
Yeah.
I did not understand.
Yeah. Guess he follows Nia Jax and Shayna everywhere.
He's like an ambassador or a chaperone. Maybe a chaperone. So, would you like to start?
Start with what?
The news, silly.
Wait, we do news?
We do nudes.
Okay, that's what I thought we did. Huh.
I hope everybody's ready to see Mark's nudes right now, live on camera.
Feet pics.
For all the world. Yeah, it's just naked feet pics. Maybe one or two sock pictures. Did I just see that right? You got a hole in that chin, brother?
I just spilled coffee on myself. It is now on my shirt. Luckily, this shirt is dark. So you won't see it as well as if it got on my pants, which it didn't. So, do you actually want to start the news, or do you want to continue your touch-ups?
Hey, listen, I was waiting on you for most of this podcast.
And you had that time to touch up.
I think I was... I was wearing a different crop top shirt last time we did this. And once again, I'm in the same position of having to be like, don't look. Who knows what's going to happen? Let that either intrigue you or repulse you. All right, news. We got a couple of pieces of news today. Let's start with injury report. Some people are injured.
Yes.
Some of them matter more than others.
Is Wesley on that list?
Wesley is not on that list.
I just learned today that his hand injury is actually very much real.
Yeah, no, I figured that was the case because you can't just be like, you can't walk into a doctor's office and just be like, hey, can you just x-ray us for kayfabe? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
like the episode of The Office where Michael has the burned foot and he tries to, while Kevin's getting like a CAT scan, or Stanley's getting the CAT scan, and he tries to stick his foot in there just to be like, can you scan me too?
Yeah, no, because when I saw that, I was like, that seems real. Last I checked, medical facilities aren't exactly, like, I know the LMFAO exists in kayfabe, but you can't just fuck around in one of those.
Yeah.
So, I think what happened was he probably got injured doing something somehow, and then now they have to kind of bide their time.
Right.
To figure out how they're going to get their title shot. But anyways, Casey is in. She has a torn. Oh, yeah.
You cut out for a second. Just repeat for everyone. Casey who?
I can't repeat my joke. Casey Canzaro's out with an injured LCL. What's an LCL?
It's something in your leg. It's the same leg that Xia Li stomped on.
Yeah, the thing where we both sat there and we were like, I think that's actually injured. That didn't look good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a partial LCL tear. Not a broken leg. Don't know what the LCL is. I assume it's a part of your leg. And judging by things, it looks like it's a pretty important part because she's got a full leg brace.
Mm-hmm.
Which is probably like a thigh brace for an average man because she's got legs that are about this long.
But I think the real news story here is that she was wearing a mask in the picture.
Good for her. I guess.
It's her first time.
Jesus, kidding.
Baby's first mask wearing.
God bless. God damn it. Anyways, more importantly, Mustafa Ali is actually injured.
Really?
Functionally injured, mind you. He has been working with a torn PCL, which once again, no clue what that is. I assume it's near the LCL. But apparently he's been working with a torn PCL. Nobody really knew that that was the case for him. I think as it's obvious that we both did not know.
Mm-hmm.
But he's working with it, so...
a PCL is the posterior cruciate ligament. It's located in the back of the knee.
So, the LCL, like, near that?
The LCL, the CLs are all, like, the ligaments are all in the leg. But the LCL is a band of tissue on the outside of your knee. It connects your thigh bone to the bone on your lower leg. Helps keep the knee from bending outward.
More importantly, what I need to know is the LCL lateral cruciate. That what that word is?
Maybe.
Lateral.
Oh, look at you.
I'm just like a med student.
Yeah. So.
You know why I knew that?
What?
I knew that because I got 1910 on my SAT.
So who else is on this injured list?
What?
That's it? Okay. So I have a little bit of news. I don't know if you want me to throw it in now. It has to do with AEW, I think. Actually, I don't even know if I'm remembering the news right. It's AEW.
You should have thrown it in earlier. Our first segment is always non-WWE. How could you?
Our first segment was Injury Report.
No, our first segment is always non-WWE. We don't have non-WWE news, at least for me.
Well, can I say it now?
Yes, go ahead.
So I believe if I heard correctly, Maki Ito is being looked into to be signed with AEW. Maki Ito's the one that everyone loves, who says fuck all the time, and is
that for her.
The self-proclaimed cutest wrestler.
You know what? I've seen pictures of her. I get it.
Yeah.
I can understand.
Mm-hmm.
It's fucking adorable. That said, I did hear that Cody Rhodes wanted to see more of her, and I didn't read the article.
Yeah.
All right. So, WWE news. Let's do zoom in a little bit here. So, for those wondering, Peacock clarified some questions that people had about the transition of power that they are going to have with WWE. At this point, there will be an overlap from March 18th to March 31st for WWE Network programming and Peacock programming. And also they clarified, if you were wondering this in the first place, they mentioned NXT as a part of like NXT UK and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
And 205 Live, stuff that you only can see on like the WWE Network. Clarified that they will have every episode of NXT plus full episode replays. That will not be primarily broadcast on there. It will still be a network television show. Which I completely forgot. I was stressed about that for a while, honestly. Mm-hmm. But that does bring up a different point, which is people, and you gave me this news piece. Apparently, because of this, people are finding out when the next NXT takeover is going to be.
Yeah.
And that is let me find it. Okay. So apparently when you go to cancel your WWE when you go to cancel your WWE subscription, it says, "Hey, are you sure you want to cancel it? Because you're still giving us money." And that money is important. And they say, hey, just in case you're wondering, WrestleMania, Fastlane, which doesn't actually make sense.
What?
Well, WWE Network, the way that they're trying to remind people not to cancel is by saying, like, this shit's coming up. But if the transition of power from WWE Network and Peacock is March 18th to the 31st.
Fastlane will be on both. They're gonna air it on both for that.
Fastlane makes sense. Fastlane makes sense. That's the 21st. But they say, hey, just so you know, WrestleMania on April 10th and 11th, and NXT TakeOver, which is going to be April 8th for some fucking reason, is going to be on the WWE Network.
I heard that WrestleMania would be the first Peacock exclusive one, but that might just be a printing mistake. Just because, like, oh, this is coming up, you know? Like, yeah.
Could be. It's just very confusing. It does bring us into the concept of, because that was not the part of the news. Part of the news is that Mark and I are going to blow our brains out because apparently now we have to do full week like regular Monday, Wednesday, okay, and Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
That is only if NXT's still on Wednesdays.
It will be on Wednesdays until after WrestleMania.
Okay.
Another piece of news, but
I also have another piece of news that's breaking news, actually. That's tragic news.
Can I finish? Oh. Okay.
If you want to finish this news piece, go ahead.
Am I going to be sad?
You won't know who it is.
Okay, well, that helps a little bit. I was just going to say that it's just going to be a bitch and a half for us to do.
Mm-hmm.
Out of the 7 days of the week. Well, basically all of them. So.
Yeah. Wrestling every day.
Because we did a stint like this back when NXT was on Tuesdays, because there was Saturday, a pay-per-view on Saturday, a pay-per-view on Sunday, because there was a takeover and a pay-per-view. And then Monday, and then NXT went to Tuesday. So we did 5 days straight of podcasting, and by the end of it, you and I were just like...
And then if NXT is on the Tuesday right after WrestleMania, then add that onto the streak.
Didn't even think of that. You're a bitch.
But just some breaking news. Jim Crockett Jr. has passed away. I don't know if you know who that is. He is
the president of NWA, owner
of Jim Crockett Promotions, and was president of NWA for 3 terms before selling it, and it became WCW. He passed away from, let's see, he was in grave condition due to liver and kidney failure, and then today he passed away at 76.
Yeah, I saw a lot of updates about his health, and I never really read into them because it just, there's too much going on, but that's horrible.
Yeah.
It seems like he was in bad health for a while, not that makes it better, but it's not sudden. That's sad. How old was he?
76.
That's not that old.
He also owned the Charlotte Orioles, a minor league baseball team based in Charlotte, North Carolina, the Winston-Salem Polar Twins in the Southern Hockey League until 1975. Yeah, little fun fact.
Wow. Well, rest in peace, Mr. Crockett. And just to confirm, NXT will be moving to Tuesdays, potentially starting on the 13th. So we will be coming to people live from the 8th all the way until the 13th.
I heard a little
9th,
fun...
10th, 11th, 12th, 13th.
Mm-hmm. I heard a little fun, little fun theory of why they're moving it to Tuesdays. And it's so that WWE can exhaust all wrestling fans before they get to Wednesday for AEW.
That's cruel. Now we get to watch AEW, which is really exciting. And then, you know what we should do, Mark? We should have a podcast.
No. Well, we still don't get to watch it because we don't have TNT.
Yeah, we don't get to watch it because we don't have TNT, which has stopped us multiple times from watching a lot of things.
Mm-hmm. We've never watched anything illegally.
I'd never do that to Tony Khan.
So what other news do you got?
Oh. I meant to just say but I kind of coughed on that one. I just want to talk about Soulja Boy.
Yeah, talk about Soulja Boy.
Soulja Boy opened up a can of worms, not only for himself, but for others. So this all started. Let me open up the tweet real quick. This all started with Soulja Boy making a little tweet ski that said, "Rap game faker than WWE," which T-Bar did not care for. First of all, T-Bar said, "Does the rap game take years off your life and leave you with countless injuries and debilitating pain? Oh, well, maybe just stick to super soaking hose or whatever it is you did 15 years ago." Valid. Randy Orton retweeted T-Bar because apparently there's solidarity in the ranks.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Fake, dare this prick to step up. He don't like movies. He don't like movies. Consider us actors that do stunts without pads 200 days a year and don't bitch when we get surgically repaired and come right back. Consider us 100 times tougher than anyone you've come across. Ain't nothing but a bitch ass. Brandy then said, this was probably my favorite. Yes, at San Benito would beat the fuck out of you. Why? How? Because he's seen our world, respects it, and knows what it takes, and finds himself lucky to be a part of it. You want to talk fake? Pawn that cheap-ass chain and come work for it. You one-hit, one-dress motherfucker.
I love that last sentence so much. Randy.
And then, Brandy said, Crank That came out in 2007. You had a hell of a year. Serious money. Hats off to you, my dude. Here's the thing, though. I like rap. I bump that shit all day, whether it's Tunchi? I don't know. Meek, Jay-Z. But you called what I do to survive fake? Fuck that. Come to my world and say that. Dare ya. Which was fun. We had fun. And then Alexa Bliss had to stick her goddamn nose in it. I said, come on, Lexi.
Oh man, I'm looking at new tweets. Okay.
But then Alexa Bliss called Soulja Boy and it, as opposed to, I don't know, a man. A lot of people were like, maybe don't, like, although this is like, yeah, he said the wrong thing and like offended people, maybe don't call a black man it.
Did you see Soulja Boy's response to Randy?
I did not.
Soulja Boy said, "If you mad because I spit facts, just say that. What you do is fake, and I stand on that. What I do is real. Come to your world. LOL. Welcome to Soulja World." And then Randy responded saying, "You spittin' facts? Seems like all you spittin' is the same mess you rap about. Nut. Clear your throat, my dog, and be there. Enough talk, back it up." Randy, oh my god.
Randall Keith Orton said, "Cash me outside." Oh my dear God.
Yeah. He's like, I can't tell if this is like kayfabe.
I don't think it is, because Randy doesn't get that mad, like, unless it's like with other people.
And I don't think
like from
I don't think in any angle would they call wrestling fake. Like I couldn't see that. Like even who was it, Cardi B? She wasn't calling wrestling fake at all when she was like desperately wanting to be in an angle.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I would love if Cardi B
also,
joined.
like, if it it'd be one thing if it were like, especially now that we've got Bad Bunny, get Cardi B, and then WrestleMania, they perform with J Balvin. I like it. I've done it.
When does Malcolm Bivens
like,
perform?
Oh, he'll be there. He'll be there for that.
Okay.
It's just like if it were like Bow Wow, maybe I'd understand and be like, "Oh, that's fake," because he talked about wanting to join.
Yeah.
But like,
Soulja Boy's a goddamn idiot. So.
Yeah. I mean, it's so funny to me that like Randy was like, "Hey," and like also it's funny coming on the heels of like the Rock's post about like all of like the shit that went through his body and the fact that like he's in crippling pain constantly. And Randy to be like, like we break our bodies for your entertainment.
Yeah.
And Soulja Boy's like, it's fake.
At least
Scott Steiner math over here.
At least any injuries that like wrestlers sustain are for the entertainment and enjoyment of others. Meanwhile, any shit that Soulja Boy gets into is purely out of his stupidity.
How much shit has Soulja Boy actually gotten into?
Wasn't there that one time where there was like the shootout in his mansion with like him and the cops? I feel like I heard that recently. Like maybe like a couple years ago.
Soulja, what happened? I searched Soulja Bot.
Some kind of shootout, I think, in his home. I don't remember.
See. There's personal life and legal issues.
Well, I think we know what the legal issues are.
It was, He was robbed in 2008.
It was later than that.
is robbed in 2009. He was sued in 2007. Got arrested in 2009. Was sued in 2011. Arrested in 2011. Was arrested in 2014. Was sued in 2016. Was arrested in 2019. Jesus Christ.
It might have been the 2019
one.
One. It might have been the 2019 one I'm thinking of. It was like this whole shootout.
No, it was just for violating probation, which to be fair, a shootout would be violating probation, I believe.
Yeah. I don't know.
I also would not know.
I might also be mixing him up with someone else. Maybe.
It's a very... I know there was like the whole thing with Tory Lanez.
No, it was either him or Chris Brown. One shitty person.
Brown does suck, so fair enough. But that is a very long legal issue section in Wikipedia.
Yeah.
That's all I've got for you today.
That's all news? That's all wrestling?
All wrestling. We should have called the podcast. That's all wrestling.
Honestly, great name. Great.
I know that we just changed the YouTube picture, but why don't we just change the name now?
That's a quick Photoshop. All right.
I did not make that into Photoshop.
All right. So this great episode of NXT started off immediately with Oney, Lorcan, and Danny Burch versus Timothy Thatcher and Tommaso Ciampa.
Let me go feral. Let me go feral for a minute. 1 minute.
I'll give you 10 seconds.
We started this match with Tommaso just walking on his own. And I said, are we ever going to see Timothy? I don't really know. And we saw Timothy. And who was Timothy standing in a doorway speaking to? But Marcel Bartel, his past tag team partner. The ring comp. The Thing. The man who stole his music, more or less. I'm not technically blaming him, but I'm blaming him.
You know,
so he's just speaking to him.
You mentioned this appearance from Imperium, like every appearance that we've been having from Imperium as like some kind of ulterior motive to disrupt tag teams. I think this is just them making like a big splash in NXT right now. Like they want us to see them everywhere. They want us to see them everywhere because like Marcel and Fabian are going to go for the tag team titles. Alexander Wolf's going to go for the North American title. And Walter's going to go for the NXT title all around WrestleMania time. So I think that's what we're building up for. Complete domination from Imperium.
Well, yeah. See, the thing is that like if there wasn't all the history behind Timothy and Marcel, I wouldn't think this way. And if it was Tommaso talking to Marcel, I still would not think this way. Because it's very specifically a team that he has legitimate history with that has been referenced before, both on his side of things in WXW and on when Walter came over to NXT. It just feels funky.
It could just be a good way to mix them into things and have them appear without it seeming forced. But I get what you mean. There's seeds. There's seeds that are being sown right now.
I think also my thing is that like it's NXT. I feel like a cheap way of being like, oh, they've got their hands in every pot would be to do that. But because it's NXT and we don't always get the cheap way of doing things, we get the like well thought out, well-rounded way. I genuinely think that there's something more to this. Because it's just a coincidence in and of itself. The fact that Imperium shows up at this failed tag match for Tommaso and Tim, and that Imperium shows up after Killian and Drake Maverick get their asses crushed.
You mentioned...
I would love to see them leverage their... I was going to say, I would love to see them leverage their history with different members of NXT to, at the end of the day, the end goal is still the same. To assert dominance over the entire brand.
You just mentioned it's NXT, so we'll get something really thought out. Flashback to grizzled young veterans. Where
Smile and hate you.
Where when they were introduced, they came out just attacking Everrise, And then after they lost the tournament, so that we'd see them more, they attack MSK. And that's all they've been doing outside of matches, just attacking other tag teams. I just find that funny. Like, sometimes they just go, like, the complete numbskull route. And it's great.
I think that's the beauty of it, because then, like, we get... And this was something we were talking about earlier, is that, like, just the fact that, like, you kind of had to, like, dig a little deeper when you saw Tim and Marcel. Then today we showed... Who was it? Eli. LA Knight.
Oh.
We saw LA Knight walking in, and behind him, in the far distance, was Killian and Alexander Wolf talking. And I said, it's really cool that, like, they kind of have to work for this shit. Like, they're not just, like, feeding it to you.
Yeah.
Which the main roster does pretty often.
Yeah. But, anyway, we should get into the actual match. Besides theory crafting.
Alright. Oney and Danny versus Timmy and... Okay. So Tim Tam, Thatcher, arms and muscles for their matchy match starts with Danny Burch. Danny Banani, as I like to say. Tim is just like all legs for most of this. He's grappling around, just throwing himself in different positions. It's very interesting to watch. I did not know a man could move like that. He takes to just breaking Danny's arms. Danny goes for a full Nelson. Attempts a headlock when he can't get that, and Tim swiftly turns that into an arm lock. Then a weird thing, and I don't know if this was on purpose or not, but Tommaso was like, tag me in, brother. And Tim got like close enough, looked at the hand, and then like did not tag him in at all. Tommaso ended up getting tagged in shortly thereafter. And Oney came in right after that as well. But it was just like very interesting that that would happen. And of course, I'm going to read into it more now that everything else has happened. But we just get some joint manipulation and a chop to Tommaso's chest, which he gladly returns to Oney. There's a Puma tackle from both men. We get a knee to the jaw of Oney. Danny interferes, and Tommaso attacks him off the apron. Timmy appreciates Elizabeth. What are you saying? Uppercuts Danny. God bless. There's a clothesline that turns Oney inside out. Then Tim sends another uppercut right into Oney. We get knees to the spine of Oney and a crossface on Oney after Thatcher gets back in. We get a chop block to Thatcher, which brings him down onto his lovely little knees. Danny gets back in. Tim fights off Danny. We get a toss belly to belly to Oney, and a clothesline that just kills Thatcher in a way that I think we were both kind of worried that he might actually be genuinely fucking injured.
Yeah. Because, I mean, the landing was like, it's hard. Like, I doubt NXT would want to, like, try and fake a landing like that. Just do it for the spot. That and the way, like, he was reacting. Because let's be honest. Thatcher's not the best actor. He's not the best,
He's good at selling. And by that, I mean, he kind of has, like, the comical Austin Theory-esque way of selling stuff where he's just, like...
But this wasn't comical. This felt genuine.
Yeah, that was the problem, is that, like, normally, like, we kind of get him, like, slumping over, and you're like, there's Tim, just fucking around.
Yeah.
But, like, his shoulder, like, went into his neck, and I don't know what really happened, but that's what it looked like to me. And he just rolled out of the ring tense as fuck, just, like, claws for hands, and I was like... And then all of a sudden you hear Vic go, oh... And we cut to commercial.
Mm-hmm.
And we were both sitting there like, can he feel his lower extremities? Because that's step one.
I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't see him next week. Maybe even the week after. Just to take some time to recover.
Well, I'm hoping that we'll get him for a promo just so we can kind of figure out. Also, the other thing that like makes me think that something's going on with Imperium and Tim is that Marcel...
I know, it's just more theories.
This is less of a theory. It's just that Marcel and Walter the two people that were in ring comp, aside from Alexander Wolf, who are on social media a lot, the two people outside of Wolf that are on social media a lot were posting pictures. Walter posted a picture of him, Tim, and Marcel from Ring Comp era. He posted that on his Instagram. Nothing with it, Fabian or Wolf. And then Marcel Bartel shared a video from NXT's story that showed a different angle of Tim talking to Marcel and then leaving with Tommaso. If they were not involved like that, my brain would just be like, well, that was cool. But because they got their stupid noses involved, that made me think, like, what you pulling?
Well, I wonder what the plan is. It sounds very interesting. Also, welcome, William JG.
Hello. I'm hoping the plan is just to at least get me some good Imperium Tim feud, or just Tim with Imperium.
Yeah.
I'll take whichever. That said, we come back from commercial break, and Tim is back in the ring, so I guess he's not damaged. He is put into a single leg crab from Oney, and then he kicks Oney away. Danny gets in. Tim kicks Danny away as well. He tags Tommaso in. Tommaso begins clotheslining the asses off the men. Then he clotheslines both of the men, kind of like, minutes, Tim gets back in, uppercuts Danny. Tommaso gets back in off that, sending some chops to Danny. Tim gets back in, sending some elbows into Danny, and then we get a sleeper on Danny, and Oney kicks Thatcher. And Thatcher does that cute little thing that Dexter does sometimes, where he's just like, continue. I'm like, moron. Tommaso comes in to save the day, so removing Oney from the fray. Together they do like this weird like thing that like Sheamus and Drew did back when they were friends. Or it was like the 10 beats of the bottom, but it's two idiots doing it now on their knees. Which I thought was like kind of cute, even though I kind of like hate Tommaso's guts. Just saying. But from there, Tim is finally left alone. He gets a nice bear hug on Danny. Wants a German suplex, it looks like, but Oney jumps in, slams Thatcher down. Danny gets back in after that. Thatcher punches Oney. Danny grabs him. At this point, it is mayhem. Everyone's in the ring. Everyone's just doing whatever they want to do. Oney gets slapped by Tim and then Tommaso. Tommaso is headbutted by Danny. Tim then like drop kicks Danny because that's something that Tim Thatcher does, I guess. I've never seen that man leave his fucking feet for a drop kick.
Yeah. It wasn't even really, that was a single like drop kick, or it was like a jumping super kick. Like,
you know what it was?
What?
Poorly executed drop kick.
Probably. I mean, the man is not, he's not a kicker.
He's not a drop kicker. Not by any means. But then at this point, this is when Imperium comes up. They come out, stand at the top of the ramp, and I'm like, okay, sure. We get a half and half to Thatcher, and then a team offense to Thatcher from Oney and Danny for Oney and Danny to win. Thatcher is left with Tommaso in the ring, clutching at his shoulder. Tommaso definitely trying to get his attention, and Tim sees Imperium. Marcel's shaking his head, says something about Thatcher. You can see it on his lips. And as Tommaso's like desperately like doing that like insecure girlfriend thing where he's like getting Thatcher to like look at him and communicate with him, Thatcher just shakes him off. And I was like, okay, so we're really like doing this, aren't we? Which frankly, if I'm gonna have anything happen here, if it just means that Tim leaves Tommaso, fine.
I think it's gonna be like Imperium tries to get Thatcher. Tommaso doesn't want them to take him. So maybe we have like a Marcel or Fabian match against Tommaso.
And also, where is it? Marcel tweeted, because an NXT posted the clip of Thatcher and Marcel chit-chatting, or USA Network did. And Marcel Bartel, God love him, retweeted and said, "Informing new friendships, forget not old friends." And I said, a little dramatic, but okay. Weirdo.
So after that, we had Roderick Strong in the ring. He's shouting for Adam Cole to come out. And my God, Finn Balor comes out. Again, not Adam Cole, just Finn. He comes out and says, "Roddy, when are you gonna learn? Adam is not coming out here for you."
Finn?
That sounded good.
Is that you? That was actually pretty decent. I will give you that.
I can do one sentence, that's it. So yeah. Roddy says that Undisputed Era was doing perfectly fine until Finn showed up. Finn says it's not his fault. Says it's because of the title. Not him. And then Finn just says, "Fine. Adam Cole, baby, you want to do this? Challenge me for my title next week." I feel like next week is going to be like a faux pay-per-view kind of thing. Because we now have this match. We have Io versus Tony for the women's championship. We'll have something with Dakota and Raquel, which we'll find out later on. I'm sure Oney and Danny are going to be doing something, maybe with MSK or grizzled young veterans. Maybe something with Johnny and Dexter. I don't know. But yeah. So then, Finn says that Roddy will never be a leader. He'll always be a follower. Roddy then just decks Finn right in the face. Finn then starts wailing on Roddy in return, and then refs come out to break up the mess, ending that promo. Then we have the start to a nice series tonight. The Way goes to therapy. While the whole Way family is sitting on the couch, Indy is busy doodling on some pad. Austin keeps saying nothing bad happened with Dexter. Johnny grabs Indy's pad and reveals that what she wrote was Mrs. Indy Wrestling Loomis.
If that ain't me, I don't know what is.
Johnny then yells at the therapist to lock up Dexter Loomis. Like she's a cop. The therapist then says that Johnny has some deep-seated issues within him. That's why he's lashing out so much against this Dexter person. Johnny then screams, "I am calm! I'm Johnny Calm Gargano!" And then the therapist just kicks out Johnny.
It's literally me, though.
We then have Cameron Grimes talking to I think a switcher or a board op backstage. He's pitching some ideas, saying that they should rename the Capitol Wrestling Center. What did he say they should rename it to? The Grimes something center?
Cameron Grimes auditorium or something. It was something A at the end of it.
Okay, so Cameron Grimes Auditorium. William Regal then walks in. William Regal starts his rounds where he's just pissed off constantly. He walks in. He's mad about Grimes hitting a crew member last week. And so as punishment, Grimes will be fighting Bronson Reed. And then we have Aaliyah versus Ember Moon.
All right. So a pretty simple, quick match. Aaliyah never fails with the same ringer constantly. Honestly, I found her on purpose, but I found her ring gear designer on Instagram. He showed like every iteration that they have of that outfit.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, there's some things that are different. Like sometimes she's got the full pants on, sometimes she doesn't. Like tonight, just like, oh my god, I love a bitch with consistency for sure.
Yeah.
We get a failed arm drag to Ember. Then Ember kind of shows her how it's done by arm dragging her multiple times. We get a shoulder tackle to Ember and a punch to Ember's face. Ember is pissed off. We get a sidewalk slam to Aaliyah right afterwards. Ember then shoves Aaliyah back into the ring after sending her outside of the ring. Ember is still standing by the apron at this point, and Robert Stone sees this as a perfect time to try to kind of get her over to his side, like to sign her. And as she's distracted, Aaliyah flies out onto her. Ember then gets her back in the ring, kicks her upside the head. We get like a driving kick to the chest of Aaliyah. Aaliyah sends Ember into the corner, kicks her upside the head as well. Then we get some knees to the spine of Ember and some and an interesting head scissors because it kind of started from like a standing base almost.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to describe it. There was like very little motion going into it, which I thought not the most impressive head scissors, but for the context, I was like,
I think that's Ember's style for this, where it's like it's not swingy, it's not flying, it's like she grabs Aaliyah's neck with her legs and throws her. Like that's it.
Yeah. It's very, very interesting. Ember then clotheslines and kicks Aaliyah in the midsection before drop kicking her. We get a spine buster on Aaliyah, and then Moon and Aaliyah go up to the top ropes. Ember sends Aaliyah down in sort of a face buster-esque style, and Stone then interferes. Robert does like something, gets up on the apron, starts talking to the referee. Jessie Camilla, looking gorgeous as fuck, attacks Ember, and then Shotzi attacks Jessie. So none of that interference really matters because Ember Moon still hits the Eclipse off on Aaliyah to win. Shotzi has a new chest tattoo, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Can't wait for her to be the NXT Women's Champion. Anyway, we have Thatcher and Champa interview up next. Thatcher's like interview, he's asked about Imperium and that interaction he had with Marcel Bartel, and Ciampa just chimes in and says Thatcher's past with Imperium is just that, in the past.
Once again, just gonna put it out there. Got a bit of an insecure girlfriend vibe going on here. Because poor Timmy couldn't even get the words out of his own fucking mouth before Tommaso was like, it's Tommaso time. Timmy did not look pleased about that because Timmy is not somebody to be pushed around. He better fucking prove that because I did not like that he was tonight. I was like, did you get into a tag team and just like lose your fucking spin, bro? Like, what the that was kind of weird to me. That's all.
But right after that little interview, we have Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez versus Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships.
Ooh, boy, can you smell a disappointing match from here? Because I can.
Yeah, can I just quickly say what I think made this a disappointing match?
I hope it's exactly what I think made this a disappointing match.
I'm not going to say the ending, because the ending could open up for something great next week.
I'm not talking about any specific part.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not...
Nia not being the most convincing wrestler in this match, and Shayna being light and dainty more so, especially now that she has an NXT. Like, she's she was brutal in NXT. You would think when she came back, she would be a little more, pulling up her roots.
In that same mode.
Yeah. Dakota was great. I thought so. Markel was pretty good too.
See, that's where I kind of jump off.
Mm.
It wasn't that she wasn't great, because she was good. When we had this matchup happen, my brain immediately said, Raquel versus Nia, this is going to be the sickest fucking thing in the entire goddamn world. She's going to deadlift Nia. She's got to. I didn't get, Raquel looked like a little puss next to Nia.
Raquel.
But I was hoping... Continue.
Raquel didn't get any of that spotlight at all.
She didn't get a good spot on Nia once. And I was like, you have this larger than life matchup. 2 women, huge, strong as shit, powerful as shit. I want to see that power. I didn't get any of that power. I thought I was just watching Mandy and Dana fight somebody or whatever. I don't know.
You know what I think?
Pathetic.
You know what I think happened?
Not allowed to have strong women?
They had that whole promo with the trophy and everything 2 weeks ago. With the idea that, this would just genuinely be for the title, yada, yada, yada. That would be that. Having great hopes for the match. And then somebody backstage, don't know if it was Regal, don't know if it was H or Shawn Michaels, but they said, what if we just use this as an opportunity to get our own women's tag team title? And so they kind of fluffed stuff up for this to just be a transitional match.
Okay. I do... See, the thing is that I kind of wonder if that was the point in the first place.
Mm.
Only because when they announced the Dusty Rhodes Classic and they were and there's going to be a cool thing afterwards, I sort of thought the cool thing was the title. And not to spoil part of the episode for later, but it sounds like they're about to announce a title.
Yeah.
And I wonder if maybe they I feel like it's hard for them to have ignored the obvious. So it's confusing to me why we had to wait this long. And it was obvious. So that was what they should have done.
What if it's we have Shayna and Nia back next week, and Regal is if you can beat Nia and Shayna, we'll award you with the NXT Women's Tag Team Championship. And if you can't, we'll be holding a gauntlet for it.
Ooh, okay. If they put it that way, maybe.
But that would also fuck up.
Maybe.
That would be an insult to Dakota and Raquel. We went through the whole Dusty Rhodes Classic. We should just get it.
Okay, so here's my thoughts. Specifically, what I think is going to happen, just so we can get this hammered out, because I think we agree. Next week, they're announcing that they're making a women's tag title, which is good. I don't know why they didn't do that as the end to the Dusty Rhodes. I think they kind of wanted to, as if we needed it, because this match alone, this felt like a main roster match. This did not feel like an NXT match.
They probably...
And that's what made me hate it.
They probably had to do that because, with the men's, it's you win the Dusty Cup to have a chance at the title, so they had to make it kind of equal for both of them. And then Regs will just be okay, you put up a hard match against Nia and Shayna. We're going to make you the first NXT Women's Tag Team Champions.
I get that. I think that does make sense when you put it that way. I think the only thing for me is just why not make them look better tonight?
I don't know. Because Nia's hard to look good against.
I don't think Nia's hard to look good against. I think that we've seen people look good against Nia. I just think that tonight was, again, it felt like a main roster match because it felt so sanitized.
Yeah.
I didn't get any even just on a base level with Raquel and Shayna. I did not get any Raquel Gonzalez strong woman moments. At least, at the very least, because she and Nia slapped each other at one point. at the very least, if I could have gotten her slap Nia and Nia like stumbled back like Jesus Christ.
We did get a strong moment because Nia shoved Raquel into the apron, and then Raquel basically tackled Nia into the announce desk.
Okay, let's get in the match only because now I have a criticism about the rest of the match.
Okay.
And it is about the ending, but not about the ending.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So let's start talking about it. So Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez versus Shayna and Nia. We have Kai versus Shayna start us off, and Shayna immediately tags Nia in. Nia slams Dakota straight down, then tosses her like a piece of trash. Shayna gets in. She slams Kai straight down, and then begins manipulating her arm and her wrist. I don't know if they're still dating, but they do live in the same house. So I kind of hope they are, because I like the idea. You don't get that very often. It's very rare that I get two significant others wrestling each other, and I'm really hoping that's the case. Also, I love women. You know, if Dakota's not there, it's me. Anyways. So we get an attempted elbow stomp. Kai dodges and then gets up, slaps Baszler. We get an arm drag, and then Kai grabs Baszler's neck, pulls her down in like a sort of a bulldoggy sort of fashion, I could say. Kind of like got up there and then went yeet.
Mm-hmm.
Kai then sends Shayna from the ring after the commercial break, and Baszler. And when I'm reading my notes, it's always like a reminder to me what happened too, so I get to relive the match. But I just recalled this moment. And then Baszler just yanks Dakota Kai off the fucking apron. Just flat on her face. And if they are together, I know for a fact that if that were me after the match, I would 100% be in the locker room being like, oh, what the fuck? The fuck was that? That was mean. But Nia gets in. This was maybe my favorite part. We get the stretch muffler submission on Kai. And Nia's just ragdolling her. We get Kai free from that hold. Nia headbutts her, goes right back to the knee, gets her right back into that stretch muffler submission, and then ragdolls her into the fucking buckles. I was like, Nia, you're killing me. It was really cool.
It's okay. It's okay. Do you mean you're killing me because like it was painful or looked painful?
Well, it looked painful. I know it wasn't because afterwards there was really no. She was down for a moment, but she moved really quickly after.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because Nia did have a series of moments where she botched a lot of moves and made everyone say, "Hey, maybe she shouldn't be wrestling." But besides that, Nia now that she kind of has that reputation for her, which feels wrong to say, but that she's got that reputation for her, it's like she does like mild shit, and I'm just like, oh no, Nia's doing it, so it must have been horrible, which sells her moves more to me, in my opinion. Anyways, so after that, we get Dakota Kai. She gets up pretty quickly. She goes up to the second buckle and jumps off of it into Nia's arms. Basler ends up tagged in. Basler sends Raquel off the apron. Nia drops Miss Kai, and Shayna then hits her with a running knee to the jaw. Kai then shoves Nia off the apron. She wants to tag Raquel in, but Miss Basler is keeping her back. Dakota kicks Basler. She's got a chance to tag. And then just immediately we get Raquel in, drop kick to Basler, crossbody belly to Basler. Raquel said, "You're going to get this for a moment. You're going to love it. And then I'm not going to do it again." And I said, I like a knife to the chest.
Mm-hmm.
Because then Nia gets in. And my God, it may as well be a garden after the rain in the summer because it was a slugfest. That's my best joke tonight. Thank you. Anyways. I've got another one for the next time this kind of thing happens, but in the meantime, they punch each other for a while. That's it. She dodges Nia, and Nia runs into the buckles, I think. Nia then slams Raquel into the mat. Shayna gets in, and Raquel does end up launching Shayna over her head after getting her around her neck, like in a torture rack position. Then Dakota gets in. She drops Shayna into a kick to the midsection, or Raquel dropped Shayna into a kick to the midsection from Kai. Nia broke the cover and attacks Raquel, sending her out of the ring. We get a Kirifuda clutch on Dakota. And I don't even know how this happened. Or sorry, I think I okay, so let me set the scene because I don't really know if my notes can convey what I'm trying to say here. We have Dakota and Shayna in the ring, referee in the ring, Raquel in the ring. Raquel is going after Nia, who is outside of the ring. Raquel, I think, ends up trying to kick Nia in like the face jaw area, and in doing so, knocks Asia, the referee, on her ass, essentially out. It seems, and then all hell breaks loose, more or less, because Nia then slams Raquel into the apron spine first. Then Raquel, I guess, according to you, throws Nia and herself over the announce desk. Which I'm mad that I didn't notice that was Raquel's doing, because
yeah, she tackled
I was
her.
left with
I
was left with my own assumption.
Okay, because that's when I said like Vic and Beth were already up and out of the way. They knew what was going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I saw that too, and maybe that's why Wade also wasn't there this week. Maybe that was supposed to be a fall-away table. And Vic was like, you can't be here. I'm sorry. But anyways, so Raquel is technically the legal man in this situation. Raquel was tagged in, which I missed, but Raquel was tagged in prior to everything falling apart. But Adam Pearce says, go, 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 to the referee that's in waiting, who apparently was not watching the match and has no information on as to who the legal man is, which is my problem. I'll get into that in a second, but the referee thinks that Dakota's the legal man. Dakota is currently in a Kirifuda clutch, just knocked the fuck out, which I could use that. But the referee realizes that Dakota's knocked the fuck out and says, that's it, that's the match. Nia and Shayna win. And it just annoys me, and I know that I know I'm being a mark. Okay? I know it was supposed to happen this way.
Mm-hmm.
But it does make me mad when I think about it. I'm like, so this referee just came out here with no knowledge of anything that was supposed to be going on. He was just sitting backstage eating a sandwich, and Adam Pearce was like, hey, can you go deal with this?
Obviously, Regal had as many problems as you did with that.
Me and Willie Reeves are on the same page.
Also, real quick,
that's match.
Pat McAfee tweeted. He said, "I hope Shaq crushes tonight. Will be great for the business that I have been a fan of for my entire life. I'll be watching. Excited to see the quote." match that will top all celebrity matches. I didn't label me a celebrity, dumb folks from the IWC did. 15 minutes, no gimmicks, one-on-one. And then he posted a video of him and Adam Cole going at it. Because I think he made a tweet that was...
Are you allowed to talk about that?
About him and Adam Cole, or about Shaq?
Shaq.
I think he's trying to be like the Forbidden Door, connect the promotions, but I don't know. I think because I think he made another tweet that was like more Forbidden Door than that. People were like mad about it. People from WWE.
Well, I know that Cody Rhodes said that Pat McAfee's always trying to be signed by AEW or something like that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's what he said in
That was
like
an
his
article
press
that I read
conference.
recently. Yeah. I had a call before about Revolution, I think, and that came up somehow. Yeah, right.
But yeah, I mean, in my opinion, no celebrity match has ever topped Pat and Adam Cole. There's none I know of.
Well, we didn't see the full Shaq match, so I guess we can't really speak to that entirely.
That's fair, but I'm seeing people talk about like the storyline, and like there's like no storyline going into the whole Shaq thing. Like it feels forced to a lot of people, and that's one thing that the Pat Adam match had was like a really good lead-in.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, that was weirdly into because you and I we really didn't have much information on it. And you told me about what happened, and I was like, did he really like, flip a switch or something? Like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah.
I was like genuinely stressed. Also, we were doing that that happened during the week where we were like, let's not eat meat for a whole week. And so I'm already like losing my shit on one end of the spectrum. And then Adam Cole does whatever he's doing. And I'm like, you know what would fix this? A good rack of spare ribs.
But after that we have back to the episode, by the way. We have part 2 of
that one.
Of The Way Goes to Therapy. With Johnny out of the room, they're mentioning that Dexter Lumis has had a lot of victims, and they start listing them off. Candace lets it slip. Yeah, he made Johnny's neck hurt last week. And then it's revealed that Johnny's been texting her from the outside, telling her what to say. And then the therapist kicks out Indy and Candace. And then after that, we have LA Knight walking through the CWC. In the background, as he's rambling to the camera, you see Alexander Wolf and Killian talking to each other. It's this background stuff. They really do great work with the background in NXT.
We were just talking about this.
Yeah, we were. I know. I listen.
I just had to cross my legs because I thought it'd be nice, but I just had to pull my entire leg out of my chair, and
nice, very fun.
I don't have those child ligaments anymore. Shit hurt.
After that, we get a really weird promo with Swerve in like a recording studio. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, it's ironic it's in a recording studio, and the audio and the balancing was so bad.
You could only hear the music, really. You couldn't really hear him.
And because it was such a frenetic, BPM, it was really difficult. And my brain was trying to focus on the music, and I knew I was supposed to be focusing on the words, which were not going as fast as the beat was. So my brain was not focusing on it at all, and I was tuning in for bits and pieces. It was so insanely bad. Somebody did not test that at all. Somebody recorded it, edited it, and said, that's good.
Yeah. But because we didn't hear that much, the only bits I caught were him talking about Leon Ruff. Of course, I think that was pretty much the whole thing. And then he said at the end, he doesn't care anymore. Which I think leads to believe that he is going to just say fuck it to the rules.
I I genuinely have a feeling about this, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And the feeling is very specifically, I didn't hate this promo as far as the content is concerned.
Right.
I mean, everything else about the promo, the production value of it was shit.
Mm-hmm.
But the expressions that Swerve had, the facial acting, sold me more on what the fuck is going on with him than anything else.
Right.
And I liked that because at this point we've gotten Swerve who's just kind of being a dick for the sake of being a dick. And in his defense, he has not gotten a promo really to justify it one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
But at least tonight, we kind of got genuine reason.
Yeah.
I didn't hate it. I really didn't.
I didn't either. But after that, we had Swerve. Oh no, that's what I was just talking about. We have LA Knight again. He gets in the ring, starts talking. He says he's waited too long to step into the NXT ring, but it's not a dream come true. It's business. He lists off a bunch of people like Finn, Johnny, all those guys. He invites everyone to his front door so he can beat the hell out of them. And he said he didn't come to do any fancy flips or tricks or anything. He's there to kick ass. And then Bronson Reed comes out for the match between Bronson Reed and Cameron Grimes.
Real quick, did you know that he is billed at 6'2"?
LA Knight. I could believe that. Just ignore it.
How do I, though? In a weird way, really hoping it's an animal.
Could be a fox. Foxes make those weird noises.
Don't get me started. I've heard a fox scream. Or a rabbit. Rabbits and foxes sound like terrified human beings when they're being murdered. And if you've ever been taking your trash out in the middle of farmland, when you hear that in the middle of the night, oh, oof, terrifying. It is almost definitely an animal, but still gives me the heebie-jeebies. Like imagine walking back to your apartment at night and hearing that shit. I'd be at a full sprint at this point. Just be like, no, they're not getting me. Anyways, but yes. So LA Knight is 6'2". Make of that what you will. As I have put it, he is an Adam Cole 6'2".
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't believe that shit for a fucking second. Anyways, so Cameron Grimes comes out. He's got a whole new walkout because he's rich now. And Bronson Reed is completely confused by it. Cameron's looking to like woo him with money, I guess, and Bronson just punches him. Grimes eventually goes for a Panama Sunrise on Reed, but Reed is a big boy and just sits upon him. Eventually we get Cameron punching Bronson on the apron, and then we get what I would call a Puma tackle, what Vic Joseph was calling a Spanish fly. Think of it what you will. I don't think it was a Spanish fly, but you know what? We're all calling things in the moment, aren't we? Grimes stomps on Bronson's fingers. Bronson is a victim of some boots to the face and the chest. He ends up tossing Grimes by his little trunks. We get a club and clothesline that sends Grimes inside of himself, and then Reed tosses Grimes off the buckles onto the apron. Grimes basically just says, fuck this shit, I'm out. grabs his hat, takes off, and Reed flies out onto him, which prompted me to turn to Mark and say, imagine seeing a man the size of Bronson Reed just flying down onto you. The terror I would feel.
Yeah.
That has gotta hurt. Reed goes up top. It looks like he's kind of looking for the tsunami or maybe a senton. But then Mr. LA Knight, who I thought left the ring, but he didn't. I guess he was still kind of standing on the sidelines. He comes in and like interferes. He distracts Bronson, sends him off the top buckle so that Grimes can execute the cave-in stomp. I don't know if this means that like LA Knight's aligning himself against Bronson or with Cameron.
I could see him going with Cameron because LA Knight seems like the whole, I'm a businessman. I do business. I have money. I have nice outfits, cars, and a house. I have money. And Cameron Grimes is doing the whole, Cameron Grimes, I have money thing.
Yeah, that's fair. You got points. You got points.
Also, Murphy tweeted how long ago? 12 hours ago. Him and Aleister Black standing in the ring in NXT. Like kind of holding each other's hands up. Wondering if that... He's been tweeting a lot of weird pictures that like could allude to stuff.
Okay. To be fair, he has been being weird for the past month.
Yeah.
And frankly, I just want him and Aleister to come back. So, like, I don't know if that's asking for too much. But also, I get, like... When I think about Murphy, I'm like, whatever, you're just out of the picture because your storyline was fucking weird and WWE finally realized that. But with Aleister, it's like, anytime I get, like, a potential, like, hint that Aleister's coming back, I'm like...
All I want to say before moving on is just Murphy also tweeted, if you see a turtle in the middle of the road, you stop, and you pick it up and move it to safety. Same principle as putting your shopping cart in the return bay. It's called self-pride.
Okay, as a person who worked at a grocery store, yes. Got the right idea. Also, what?
I don't know why he's tweeting that, but you know what? Good on him. Anyway.
He is the epitome of the, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, but I love you.
Mm-hmm. So we are then back with The Way in therapy. This time it's just Austin in therapy. Austin's talking about his time with Dexter. He said he was in a small room with boarded up windows. He ate so much cereal all day and watched cartoons. I love just like this man baby Austin. It
makes me so mad because I want to like him because he's a himbo and I love himbos and they know that because they maybe not. All right, we're fine. But like I love himbos, specifically like Everrise. They're himbos and they're lovely. And they're trying to do with Austin Theory and I'm like, oh, he's so funny. And then I'm like, no, it's Austin Theory. He's not.
allegedly.
I'm gonna shake my fist at him.
And then after that, he doesn't know why Dexter brought him back. And then the therapist mentioned that she spoke to Dexter. And then Austin responded saying, you talked to him? But he doesn't talk, ever. And she said, oh, he actually did. He actually could not stop talking. She said that Dexter couldn't wait to get rid of Austin because he was so annoying and wouldn't stop talking about, or he hated Austin's cut off shirts that show off his mediocre midsection. Then that instantly makes Austin sob and just runs out crying.
I too am a sensitive bitch, though.
And then Johnny walks in, hands the therapist a ton of cash, and just says, "Thank you, that worked like a charm." And then they all leave together. And also, as Johnny's handing over the money, you just hear like wailing in the background. Oh god. But then we are brought to what was supposed to be Breezango versus Everrise, the first time we see Breezango in a long time since the Dusty Rhodes Cup. But
boys,
that is quickly interrupted by Legado attacking Breezango while they're in their astronaut suits. And then Legado, after chasing Everrise out of the ring, they get inside. Santos then comes out and starts wailing on Everrise. Santos starts talking in the ring as well and says, "Do not mistake last week's events for weakness." He talks about what's happening outside, what like points out Everrise and Breezango and says, "This is what awaits you." To Carrion, one can assume. And then after that, we have a little interview with Mr. William Regal. Because earlier we saw him chatting with Adam Pearce after the events of the women's tag team match. He says that next week will change the landscape of NXT, and the safest assumption for that is that they will be introducing a NXT Women's Tag Team Championship, which would be awesome. On one hand, I love it. On the other hand,
he doesn't say that they're. He doesn't say that they're gonna release that.
That they're gonna release it.
That they're definitely doing the tag team title.
Right.
He doesn't
Yeah.
say that.
Right. No. I said that's the
understand
safest assumption.
I understand you. Sorry.
Like on one hand, I would love that because it's a new title. On another hand, I wouldn't love that because like I want all brands to go for all titles, you know? Like the less titles the better so that there's more fighting over it.
But you're looking for an end to the brand split, it sounds like, across the board, and I don't see that happening anytime soon.
Not necessarily. Like Shayna and Nia going between brands is great. That's great. You still have your brands, but you can still cross them at any point. But I don't know. What do I know? Nothing. I have just assumptions. And then we have our main event. Finn Balor versus Roderick Strong.
Yes, we do. This one hurt.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Roddy comes out to not the Undisputed Era music. He comes out in not Undisputed Era gear, and I was like, oh, okay. And it makes sense, but like now it like feels more permanent because there have been times where like, you know, there was a time where Adam and Roddy had that big argument, and like Roddy stormed out and Adam stormed out after him, and it was a whole thing. And Roddy took off the shirt, and Adam was like, well, maybe you don't deserve to wear it. Whereas that time, that was the thing that happened. But this just feels so real. And it hurts.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, we start with a lot of grappling. Legs and arms. That's all it is. Roddy delivers a big chop to Finn. Finn goes to isolating the left arm and wrist of Roddy. We get a backbreaker on a Finn, the first one of the night. And then Roddy goes to chopping the absolute shit out of Finn. Finn pulls Roddy's arm under him, sending him down to the mat. Balor then goes back to isolating that old left arm. We get a nice little power slam to Finn. Roddy begins unloading onto Finn, which I actually typed before Vic said it, but the way Vic put it was Roddy's unloading all of like the anger that he's had over the last week or two. And I was like, But he's got a point.
Mm-hmm.
None of this would have happened if it weren't for Finn.
Right.
No offense, love Finn, but also I hate him right now. But Roddy runs at Finn with a high knee, but Balor dodges him, sending that knee into the top turnbuckle. Balor goes back to isolating that left arm. At this point, it was like weird. A technical difficulty happened where the screens of all the fans vanished. And I would not have noticed it if it were not for you, Mark, pointing that out. All the screens, like the fans vanishing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was just, must have been some weird tech mishap because NXT, like the NXT logo came on, and you could just see, like, inside of the T, it said in green letters, kids. And then it just disappeared at one point. It was like, that was very weird. I don't know, maybe somebody showed something on one of their screens, like a Chris Benoit poster. Because I know somebody got in trouble for that like a year ago. Maybe that happened, and so they just shut them all off in panic
You think
mode.
they can't just kill one person's webcam?
I'm sure it was some kind of panic mode thing.
Maybe. But also, I don't know what NXT Kids is.
I'm sure. No, I don't think it was NXT Kids. I think they on one screen, kids came up. Like I don't know, because they were able to make that go away by itself.
I understand what you're saying. Strange shit though. But anyways, there was a clothesline that then flattened Balor. Roddy sends Finn down to the mat. Once he's back up, we have some of those sweet little skip to my Lou elbows where Roddy just kind of dances along the ring and just ups and every time he passes him. We get a double underhook powerbomb after a belly to back suplex, and then a sling blade to Mr. Roderick Strong, as well as a failed dropkick. Strong, like the dropkick fell so early on. It was kind of surprising because it is Finn, and you don't expect his shit to kind of fucked up. But I don't know if that was the point, because Strong immediately goes for the stronghold, which is just a Boston crab. You look confused.
So, NXT Kids is a thing.
Is it?
It's that same logo with like the green kids in the NXT logo. There was a pilot 6 years ago for it. It was basically like in the video, there were like clips of interviews being done by kids to professional wrestlers. Of course, there are still like wrestling matches, but like the audience is primarily kids. I don't know if they're bringing it back, because having that logo like ready on standby is a little weird.
That's very, very interesting. I don't want to dive in because that makes me feel weird.
Apparently,
Yeah.
Apparently in 2020, there was an open casting call for new kids pilot NXT Kids. That's very weird.
All right. Anyways, almost done with this match. He refuses the stronghold. Roddy manages to get it locked in just enough. Eventually, he ends up getting free from it. Roddy goes for the double stomp, but Balor turns it into... Oh, sorry. Roddy goes for the backbreaker. Balor turns it into a nasty double stomp. We get a Pele kick to Roddy. Balor drops Strong with an elbow to the chest and then a drop kick. And we finally get the coup de grace in 1916 to Mr. Roderick. And Finn wins, and Adam Cole stands at the top of the ramp saying, "Ah, I'm still here." Anyways, that's matches.
That is. Solid show all around.
Of course, I mean it's NXT.
I have a lot of questions. It's also a shame that they were up against AEW and the Shaq match. But, you know, that's competition. But now we move on to bests of the night. What was that?
It won't be like that for much longer.
Yeah. Then AEW will only have to compete with NXT Evolve.
I'm interested to see what NXT's ratings are like without AEW.
Yeah, me too. Because I'm sure, like, what's happening is a lot of people are picking AEW over NXT, and now if they have the option to watch both, perfect. Alright, so best of the night, promo of the night. I already know what I'm gonna pick. There's no, like, competition. Should I even bother going through all of them? There's only one choice.
You don't have to if you don't want to.
It's the way goes to therapy.
Yeah, I agree.
There is no competition. The way is easily the best part of NXT right now. Story-wise, they're so good. So Wrestler of the Night, we started off with Oney, Orkin, and Danny Burch versus Timothy Thatcher and Tommaso Ciampa. My pick is Timothy Thatcher. He looked great, even if he kind of had that weird single leg drop kick, but he still did it real well. And managed to fight through all of it with what one can assume is a neck injury that happened in the middle of the match. He still performed great. I still don't ever get what he does on the ropes, you know, when he's just watching the match. Like, why does he, like, lean all the way to one side? I don't know. But, yeah, he performed great.
He's a prince. He gets, like, not just those hits, and he's just like, Tim, stop. Your neck's supposed to hurt.
Well, then we had Aaliyah versus Ember Moon. My pick's Ember Moon. She rocked it. Aaliyah was pretty good too, but Ember Moon was just... God, she was good in this match. She was really good. That head scissors, she just threw Aaliyah. That was great. That eclipse at the end, fantastic. I love her signature moves. Then we had Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez versus Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. I got Dakota Kai. Dakota was great. I think she had the most spotlight in the match. And the way that she was able to kind of tell her story in the match, where she started as somebody who was like just a victim of Shayna Baszler, was like a crybaby, and then became what she is now, which is a badass and somebody who can easily contend with Shayna Baszler. I thought that was really well told in the ring. Then we had Bronson Reed versus Cameron Grimes. I gotta go with Bronson. I love how he's evolved. How he kind of started as this large man who did comedically large things. Like, it was his thing. But now he's able to do like a lot of fantastic moves that look great, while also using his mass to his advantage and incorporate that in his move set. He's become so fun to watch. And then lastly, we had Finn Balor versus Roderick Strong. Easily Roddy. Roddy is the pick for this. He looked amazing, and he's so good at selling moves. I think that's one thing that all of Undisputed Era is so good at, is selling. At the very least, like, Roddy is an incredibly talented wrestler. The only reason I pick Roddy over Finn is just like Finn was just a fraction better than, or Roddy was a fraction better than Finn tonight. Roddy was just amazing in every way. So my pick for Wrestler of the Night, I gotta say, is Roderick Strong. He was amazing.
I agree with you.
I forgot how good he was.
It's weird because like when we don't see him individually very often, you're like, oh, it's just Roddy. But then you see him in the ring, and you're like, oh, it's Roddy.
If only he was. If only he was as good on the mic as he was wrestling.
Oh, leave him alone. He's got a little elf voice. He can't help himself. So Seth has an elf voice too.
It's not the voice. He's just not good at delivering. He's like Thatcher. Him and Thatcher share that. They're both fantastic in the ring, but they're not good on the mic. Thatcher's gotten way better.
Endears me. Yes. It endears me to them though when they're like shitty on the mic, but they're good at wrestling because I'm just like, oh, you're trying so hard.
Roddy's not normally the one who speaks, okay? That's normally Adam Cole.
Roddy's just the one that sits in the background, is usually just like, yeah, we're gonna beat you up. I'm like, Roddy, we didn't need that, but thank you.
Alright, so match of the night. I already know what my pick is, but we started off with Oney, Orkin, and Danny Burch versus Timothy Thatcher and Tommaso Ciampa. Great match. Weird ending. The fact that Thatcher and Champa were very easily distracted by just the appearance of Imperium was a little weird. I feel like Thatcher shouldn't have been distracted, A, because he's like, his whole gimmick is being an incredibly professional wrestler that is like a monster, and B, he already knew Imperium was there. I mean, he had a conversation with Marcel Bartel before coming out. There should be no like surprise or distraction from Imperium being there. It felt like a wonky finish. Not wonky, but like it felt kind of cheap. And a dumb way to protect Oney and Danny and give them the win. But then we had Aaliyah versus Ember Moon, which was pretty solid. I like that they're giving Robert Stone brand more spotlight than the spotlight that they used to have. Obviously, it's less so now, but now they're at least getting TV time. Robert Stone is getting a character again. Like, we're back to where we should be with them. This was a pretty good match. Ember Moon was great. Aaliyah was good. Solid. Then we had Dakota Kai and Markel Gonzalez versus Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. Disappointing. But pretty good. I mean, for NXT standards, it's disappointing, but for a main roster match, it was good. Pretty good. The ending is wonky. It's very wonky. It felt really forced. But if we get something good out of it, I don't mind. Then we had Bronson Reed versus Cameron Grimes. Really good match. This was really good. Until LA Knight stepped in and screwed everything up. And by the way, before this match ended, Bronson Reed was on a winning streak since New Year's Eve. So for about 2 months now. I'm kind of mad that they screwed that up, but you know, it is what it is. Solid match. And then lastly, we had Finn Balor versus Roderick Strong. Balor versus Roderick Strong, which was basically a showcase of just traditional wrestling and just a fantastic match. They could have had Adam Cole just interrupt the match, kick Roddy in the face, then go after Finn, but no, they let this just play out. They let this amazing takeover worthy match happen just for the sake of it happening. It was great. It was such a great match. It had a good finish. Adam Cole coming out just to have a stare off with Finn. It was well done. Everything you needed. Making weird faces. And Finn making fun of Adam Cole. I don't know why he did that, but it was so good. Oh, the performance each of them.
So he's a prince.
Yeah, he's the Demon Prince. But this was just a fantastic showing from both of them all around. I love this match. One can only hope that the Adam Cole Finn match will somehow top this. So, my pick for match of the night is Roderick Strong versus Finn Balor.
Agree. Only because the Tim Tommaso Oney Danny fight felt a little weird, and I think it was just because Tim had that hard landing where things kind of felt like, what the fuck is going on? But the Roddy fight had emotion. Roddy was pissed.
Yeah.
And he has every right to be, because again, I totally agree with him. I think Finn is the exact reason why all this is happening. If I were Roddy, I would also feel that way. So I have to agree with you. I thought that we got exactly the emotion that I wanted to get with Raw with Drew and Sheamus, but we never got.
Yeah. And like, just the way we started off the match, before the match even started, with Roddy coming out in his new gear, with his new walkout, where he still kept like the pose in the ring. Like that tells you everything you need to know right off the bat. And then just going all out on Finn after Finn told him, like, you're not a leader, you're just a follower. This was excellent storytelling.
Said that shit, and again, I was like such a fucking mark. I was like, that's my boy. Don't say that.
Alright, so to run it back, our promo of the night, The Way Goes to Therapy, Wrestler of the Night, Roderick Strong, and Match of the Night, Finn Balor versus Roderick Strong. Liz, would you like to close out this episode of the Pinfall Podcast?
I suppose. If you join us, thank you for joining us. If you join us in the future, thank you for joining us. We're still here. Happy St. Patrick's Day. I'm going to keep saying that until that passes because I have nothing else to say. Please join us on Friday. We will be back with another episode of the Pinfall Podcast because we just cannot stop doing this shit. And the noise is back. Great. Dude, I'm going to have to go outside after this and find out what the fuck that is because that's stressing me out now.
Fine.
It's giving me like injured dog vibes.
Fine.
Anyways, please join us on Friday. Maybe there won't be creepy noises happening in the background of the podcast the entire time. We'll be back with our SmackDown podcast, and it'll be fun because it's Friday. Usually Fridays are pretty fun. Mark and I might have pizza in us by that point because I've been thinking about pizza.
What?
Thinking about pizza.
Oh, all right. So, thank you all for watching. If you all enjoyed, please hit that follow button or subscribe button. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to check out the live show, twitch.tv/The Pinfall Podcast if you're watching the live show. First of all, thank you for joining us live. Second of all, if you missed part of this podcast, want to check out previous episodes, that's all on the YouTubes. But there's always a risk an episode won't go up. That's why you should always check out the live show. Our Twitter is @Pinfall Podcast. I'm @the Mark Cameron. Liz is @Eliza Elaine23. And thank you all for watching. We'll see you on Friday for Friday Night SmackDown. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you then.